Indeed,
So,
the fifth webinar, Eve.
what you have been cooking lately?
Well, I've been cooking with MaaS360 again, and more specifically with all the media storm around TikTok. That seems to be a very dangerous app. Quite not quite suddenly, but so I thought, okay, let's do this and show a little bit how things work when you have a nice solutions such as our own MaaS360, of course.
Yeah, so we have lots of things to show today, I think. And I think also, like you told me, some scary demos.
Not too scary, no. Pretty technical demos, no. But yeah, hope it's it's anyway. It's pleasant to see that stuff actually works with MaaS360, and I know that lots of companies and especially governments are struggling to get stuff done. In fact, so I recently read somewhere that the European Commission has sent out emails to their employees to please ask them to remove TikTok. Now, this is a strange way of working, I think. They probably don't have any visibility on who's running, who's using, where it's installed, on which device, and so on. And so now they're hoping, they're doing this mailing, and they're hoping that things will get right.
Well, if they would have their phones managed through a solution, they could have full control of what apps can run on the device. And of course, if it's a personal device, there's no way to control it. Well, not
Yes,
completely.
you're right.
Yeah.
There are different scenarios, of course, and I don't want to maybe focus too much on TikTok. TikTok is, of course, a nice word, it's a nice application too, but the same goes for other applications like games or simply if you have a policy of blacklisting, whitelisting applications, then it's the same thing. You want to know where the apps are installed, on which devices, which version they have, and so on. So first off, you want to have visibility, and then preferably, and if needed, you can act and actually do something. And in the, let's say, the strongest case, you would like to even remove the apps remotely from your central console.
Okay, so I think you have a presentation, a small
Yeah,
presentation, I think.
indeed.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah. Presentation is on the screen now, Mr. Director.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. So that was the introduction. Let me find my mouse here. Okay. So yeah, the agenda is a bit what's up with TikTok. I think we kind of already explained that during the small talk with Eve. I've read some things about TikTok, and I think in a nutshell, it's not too much different from the other social media things like Facebook and Instagram and so on. So maybe they're collecting a bit more data, and also it's kind of a political thing also, because TikTok is in fact created and managed by a company called ByteDance, and this company has very tight relations with the China government. And in fact, in China, there's another TikTok. Well, it's the same TikTok, but it has another name. And as we all know, in China and privacy, and especially in China itself, they don't take this all too serious, and they simply say that yes, they're using that application to know your location, know what you're doing, and so on. So it's not that it will directly harm something or destroy your devices and so on, but still there's a lot of suspicion, let's say. But as I said, it's not only TikTok. Someday there might be something else that you want to, take a look at and maybe consider to remove, or at least be aware that these things are on your smartphones, tablets, Windows 10, MacBooks, and so on. So what I've prepared is a number of demos which I'm going to do. They're on the slide. And then finally, we're going to wrap up. What is MaaS360? And this is a slide that we also already presented. So it's can run on different devices and even things, printers, Internet of Thing devices like smart meters, for example. It's used in, or it can be used in multiple sectors, ranging retail, healthcare, and so on. And then, of course, you can manage what's actually running on these devices, like the apps, and that's the focus of today. The exact content, the Word documents, other documents. You can do some identity management also, do single sign-on, for example. Threats is a subject that, in fact, Yves is preparing for a next webinar, is where you can actually also see what's going on the level of threats. I mean, malware, phishing, SMS phishing, email phishing, and so on. So that's something for next month, probably, that we're going to address. And then finally, of course, there's the AI thing with the advisor that is running in the portal of MaaS, where you can have nice intelligence report about what is going on in your environment, on your devices, for your users. That's enough talking. If you like playing around with it, it's no problem. You simply type what's on free MaaS360 free trial in Google, and it will automatically get you there. So the test environment. And so what I've foreseen is, of course, there's a MaaS360 tenant running out there in the cloud with a number of users. And I have two test devices near to me. I'll show them in the camera. So that's a very old Motorola smartphone, a Moto 5. It runs an Android, of course, 8.1.0. It's installed with what is called Android Enterprise. That's, in fact, the only supported way of seriously managing your Androids within the enterprise. And it's also installed in a specific modus, which is called device owner, meaning that it's actually the enterprise that has quasi full control over the device, as opposed to something else, which is called profile owner, where you can actually nicely separate enterprise stuff with personal stuff. So that's the Android. And then the other test object is a Windows 10 machine that's running in a virtual machine, whatever. And it's a Windows 10.
It's a bit more difficult to show on the camera, right?
It would be possible, I think. But I'm not going to do heavy lifting right now. And then you see a number of icons there. Of course, you recognize TikTok. As it's installed on the Android, it's also installed on the Windows 10. And there's another one that you can see, which is, in fact, if you look pretty close to the screen, you can see slots. It's a game. It's just an example of an application that can be installed both on Windows and on Android, and it's a game as an example. And that's it, in fact. So not too difficult. It's all running over here and out there on the internet on my MaaS360 tenant. Then, we will also share the presentation. I've shared a number of classic resources here, like product documentation and so on. And I would also like to draw the attention and give a thank you to Chuck Browns, my colleague, who has written 2 blogs about this specific topic, and which we used as an example to build a demo, in fact. And I also want to bring to the attention that another colleague within IBM, Matt McNamara, who has a nice YouTube channel, in fact, with lots of small videos on MaaS360. And you can find one of these YouTubes there in the link. And that's it, in fact. So we can head over right to the demo now. If you want to even change the scene a little bit.
Should be okay with the same.
I will do the same. Should be okay, of course. All right, let's get started. And the first thing I wanted to discuss, in fact, is that visibility that we've talked about. So first thing to do, in fact, is, okay, who has TikTok installed in my environment? So for that, we can use our very elegant alert center within MaaS360. So I created a number of, let's say, alerts for this purpose. And you can see then on the screen, there's, for example, how many TikToks are installed on iOS, how many on Android, how many on Windows, and for all devices. So as an example, and to show you how simple this is, I will now, in fact, delete one of these and then recreate them, and then we can discuss. So let me delete this one. There you go, and create another one. So let's create another alert. Give a name and description. It's available for all administrators. It's I'm looking here at active devices only. I could also choose inactive devices, or rather all devices. And of course, I'm looking at smartphones or tablets, since I'm looking at iOS stuff. Then I have to say, okay, do I want a report based on a number of days? Typically, I choose here to not do that. Of course, for me, it's easy. I have a very tiny test environment. Might be interesting to only select the most recent stuff. Then you have the search criteria, and you can do and or something more complex. In our case, it's pretty easy. It's an and, in fact, and you could say it's condition 1 operating system, then operating system name, and it must contain iOS. Then we go and look for specific software installed, in fact, on these devices. Change to application name and contains TikTok. And that's all that you need to do.
Are you sure it's iOS, or you want to do it on iOS, not on Android, right?
Yeah. This
Okay.
is the filter on iOS. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
good.
correct. Then description is won't make it too difficult here. There I go, and I update. So that's all I need to do, and then voila, I can see my new filter is TikTok installed on iOS. If I click on this, then I get a list of all the iOS systems in my environment that have TikTok installed. So this is, of course, a nice thing to have. There's only one here in the in the list in my test environment. Why is this interesting? If your boss, for example, asks you to draw a list of all devices, all iPhones with a specific application on, you could easily export this to an Excel also. You can also customize the columns. So now the columns are device name, username, blah, 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 blah. It's very easy to also customize the columns. And for example, add something like the manufacturer, for example, and you can also change the order in which it is put. Do a save, a resend, and you will get another layout. In fact, you will also see the manufacturer. So if you export, you get an Excel file. Yeah. If you, of course, choose Excel first, otherwise you get a CSV file. And then there you go, you have this nice list. Well, it needs a little bit of beautifying, but then you have a list of devices that you probably must take care of. So that's one, I think, very interesting feature to have, is to have the visibility of what exactly is going on. Something I did not, yeah, okay, it's maybe a detail, but at the same go, while you were making this query, you could also say, well, this is an interesting query. I want to create a new device group. What is a device group? It's simply a group of devices. Okay, that's fair, but it's something that you can then altogether for the whole group put a policy on, for example, or distribute an app to. So as you can see, it's all very easy to do. Alrighty, so that's the general overview, and I wanted to break up the demo in two major chapters. One chapter is Android, and the other chapter is Windows 10. These two are quite different beasts, in fact, on level of operating system, and hence they also require other policies and so on. So in my environment, what do we have? So if I look in the devices tab and then go to inventory, I have this Moto G, and let's take a look at that device. Let's first take a look on the device itself. I hope it's still showing, Yves.
No, I have
It's a black screen probably.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. So it's an Android, and as you can see, it has this TikTok. Well, let me show my screen also here. In fact, so it has TikTok as an application. It has the Walking Dead slots application. So these applications are installed by the user, and so the user can easily start TikTok. So let's do that. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. And so there's TikTok, and have fun with all the small videos and and so on. Pretty fun application. So, oh, the visor has gone for a while. No problem. It'll be back soon. There you go. Going back, we also have this other application.
It's no longer visible in our screen. That's you probably started a new session.
Oh yeah, because it was disconnected for a while. Yeah, that's annoying, but you could still see it on. No, you can no longer see it on the screen.
On your screen, where you can see it.
Yeah. It's back on my screen, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, as I was saying, so there's the TikTok app. There's also other apps like this, the Walking Dead slots. It's more like a game. Showing here. Okay. No need to actually play the game. Just wanted to show you that that's running fine on the mobile right now, and it's also something that your company wants to get rid of. In fact, I also want to get rid of it on my screen now, but that's not easy because it's still starting up, so you can have some fun time watching here. Of course, I'm accepting all the policies. Trying to get rid of it. Voila. Logging back on, and there I'm back. Okay. Well, not exactly, in fact.
But maybe that's for another session because we're streaming on Twitch, which is typically a gaming platform. We could also do that one day.
Yeah, many people going to be happy with this. I'm not for the moment because I cannot get out of this thing, which is a bit strange. Okay, let me try again. Probably have to choose. Probably have to play the game now. It won't stop otherwise.
Well, can't you stop it on the phone itself by clicking on the phone?
Yeah, it's back. It's back.
Okay.
Okay, so the applications are ready. So this is live. This is actually working. So that's the situation right now. So what have we also installed on this device through the device owner enrollment type of enrollment is, of course, the MaaS360. So let's look at MaaS360 now. I will, for the moment, put away the phone screen and go back to MaaS360. So within MaaS360, once a device is enrolled, we have quite some things to show. Everything that MaaS360 knows about the device, of course, hardware stuff, operating system stuff, how it's managed, and so on. But in this webinar, we're going to focus on applications installed. So with this device mode, it can actually see all the applications that are installed on the Android device. And that includes both, let's say, native system apps and other apps. And with other apps, I mean apps such as MaaS360 in the first place, but also you can see here TikTok and the Walking Dead slots, the two games I installed. I also installed visorandball.com, whatever. And as you can see, there's a possibility to remove this kind of apps. So apps that are actually coming from I installed these apps simply from the Play Store, not via the NDM, but still they can be removed from within MaaS360. Now, removal is maybe not something you want to do directly, and also it would not be very automatically because I'm looking at one device of one user. So that's not what we want. I also want to draw your attention here to something that we're going to use a bit further in the demo, namely applications are identified by a name, of course, like TikTok, but also by an application ID. And in the case of TikTok, that's com.ziliaoapp.musically, whatever. So these are the apps installed. Going back to the summary on the device, I have installed a policy And the policy I installed is a very light policy, and you can see it over here on the screen. It's the new default policy for Android. So it's a policy that doesn't, in fact, have a lot of stringent policies. And similarly, I have installed what is called a rule set on the device, and that's the rule set over here. And also, this is a light rule set. Let's say it's not actually very very strong. It has almost no actual compliance rules. So in other words, there are no out of compliance reasons, as you can see here, and the device is compliant according to the policies. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the policy, and I've prepared a policy for that. And in that policy, I will state that specific applications should not be there, should not be installed. And so that's what I'm going to be showing now. So I'm going to show what I changed in the policy to achieve that, and then show the result on the smartphone itself. And similarly, you have compliance rules, which is in fact, which are going to determine what actions are you going to take because of an incompliance. So the policy is kind of the law. This is how it should be and must be. And what you do with that is determined by the compliance rules. This is also easy to set up if you go to the tab security, and let's start with the actual policy that I'm going to apply to this device. And this is the policy I'm going to apply. It's called IBM Labs policy for Android. Again, there's a zillion things you can apply on the level of policies. We're going to focus on this webinar on only one thing, namely the app compliance. So application compliance, that is, of course, and you can do a number of things. I'm not going to discuss all of these, but what we want to achieve, for what we want to achieve, there's this section called apps to be disabled. And you will have to provide the app ID, and that's exactly what I pointed out a few minutes ago. So here you have to remember or note down. You can also search it up, and that's documented in the documentation center. You have to have these application IDs, and this is the application ID for TikTok, and the other one is for the slots game. And that's it, in fact. So let's now apply this policy to the device and see what happens. So now it would be nice if we could, of course, have this aside, these two things aside, so the phone and the visor. So let me try to fix that. Voila, make this maybe a little bit smaller. No, that's okay.
What you've shown here is when you apply new policy that the icons get grayed out, and if you click on it, you can do it once again. You can see that that the action is not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a good thing, of course. This is not the way you're going to do it in an enterprise modus. Of course, you're going to, in fact, use things like a device group all these devices together, and then apply that policy to all devices. So you can in fact hundreds, thousands of Android devices. You can disable TikTok on them in a snap. So that's That's nice. That's automation. All right. So this is a policy. This is one thing. Another thing is that you also want things to happen because they're now out of compliance, and you want to define this out of compliance. So for the moment on the device, we still have this light compliance rule, which in fact doesn't do anything. So let's take a look at the compliance rule that I've prepared for the demo. And this is the one that is called IBM Labs Compliance Rule Android. And this is how a compliance rule looks like. It's for a specific platform. So in our case, it's Android. You can you can list some event notification recipients. Maybe I'll change that to, in fact, mailinator.com. Save it, confirm, and reopen it again. Okay. Enforcement rules. So you can select specific enforcement rules on a number of things. In this example, I've also chosen to demo something on the level of operating system. So I'm asking, or I'm demanding that there's an operating version between 12 and 13 for the Android. So this is going to be violated anyway, because this is an old device. It has Android 8.1. Then, so per violation, let's say you can select an action, and the action is typically alert. So meaning that you can flag this as being out of compliance. And then you can choose what to do with the alert, sending it to the device via email to the user, or using the standard email list as I changed above, or even other emails. And then also, if you want, add a little bit of comment. So you can do this for a number of things. But again, application compliance is the most important one. So that's also one that I flagged. And I can do an alert. And similarly, I can do this to, again, a number of people. And then finally, for the there's also this concept of group-based rules, meaning that I'm going to send an alert to all Android devices with TikTok installed. And similarly, all devices with the Walking Dead slots game installed. So again, this is making use of groups. So here you can select a group. So these are the groups that I prepared for the demo. If you group them first, you do a search, you create a device group based on that, and then you can afterwards use it within the group-based rules. All right, so let's now apply that compliance rule to our device. And therefore we go again to the device itself. So you can see that for the moment, the out of compliance reasons are in fact empty. There's nothing actually stated here. If we now go and change the rule set to the one we've just discussed, that's this one, then you will see this changing immediately. And maybe it's a good time to also show this over here. So when I now do a refresh, I can see that there are 3 rules that are violated, namely the OS versions, as I planned, in fact, because this is an old one, and I didn't want, and I wanted this to be a compliance violation. Then there's TikTok installed, and then there's the Walking Dead slots installed. So this is the way that we can use the system to get compliance reporting, auditing, and actually do other stuff with it. So in this case, I only alerted on it. There are other things that you can do, like, for example, depending on your enrollment mode, you can wipe the device, and wiping meaning the enterprise stuff, leaving the personal stuff alone, or you can block the user for using corporate email, for example. You can change the policy, you can remove the remote control from MaaS360, and so on. So this is what compliance rules actually do, and in this case we can use them conveniently for this kind of use cases. Okay, what's next? So we reported on it, we know where the devices are. Maybe we also want to, and now Yves, what else do you want to do?
I don't know what you have in mind for the Windows, or
No, delete the TikTok,
oh, of
right?
course, delete the TikTok.
Delete the TikTok.
Let me try if I can make another scene, if that works.
For
Yeah,
yeah, okay, but
okay,
I can
yeah.
also show it like this. No,
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
okay now. Yeah.
Okay, delete the TikTok. How are we going to do that? Let me think. So I already discussed we can do this in a number of ways. If we go to groups, for example, and start using these devices or these groups, and say, okay, I have this group here. Let me first show the devices to make sure I don't make any mistakes. So this is a group. Of course, there's only one in it. It could be, of course, dozens, hundreds in practice. And then you can say, I want to wait. I think I have to go one step back and then do a remove app. So I have the group, and now I do a remove app. And now I need to remember the
app ID.
I hope I have this right. I've typed this a number of times during the demo preparation course. Zilioa app Musically. Okay, so this is the app that I want to delete. And of course, I would like to show now, what I would like to see now is that the TikTok app is actually disappearing from the smartphone. Let's do that. Confirm, and then wait a few seconds. Like 20 seconds or 30 seconds or something, or less. Oops. Should be any time now.
Time's ticking.
Time is ticking.
TikTok.
TikTok. Did I succeed in not having the app ID right?
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Because it typically is should be there right now. Okay. Let me see if I got it right. Going to quickly open another thing here where I've put some stuff. Oh my God. I can see what I did wrong.
You missed
So
one A, or?
yeah, it's this yeah, for odd looking name that I missed that one. I switched the A and the O. I'll do a Control C here and go back to my screen here. Take the same group, of course. Do a more, remove the app, and that'll be better. Voila. Let me show the smartphone again, and then okay, let's cross fingers now, but this will be much better. Confirm, and then wait like 20 seconds or less to have TikTok removed from the Android.
This is the scary part of the demo, I presume.
Yeah, this is the scary part. It's also scary because I don't see anything changing. So I wonder if I took the right, because I can see that there are two Android devices groups here. And this is the right one. I don't know why. Maybe I choose the other one. Okay. Remove app. Oh, it's gone now. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was a little bit impatient. So nothing was wrong. In fact, it just, yeah, it's something like, it's a snap in the world of mobile and IT operations. It's a snap, but still for a demo.
For demo, we always want it to happen as we say it, right?
As we say it, indeed. All right, so that was what Yves called the scary part.
Yeah.
So the TikTok application.
We got rid of the TikTok application, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, on all of our Androids in one move, in fact. Yeah. So this was Android. So pretty long explanation on that. So that was chapter 1. Now chapter 2 is Windows. So we can do similar stuff on the Windows. And what I will do is I'll take the Windows, not by hand, but via my remote desktop. And here it is. So it's a Windows 10, right? So I've also installed MaaS360 on it. You can still see my screen, Yves?
Yeah. We see your Windows screen, yeah.
Yeah, so MaaS360 is over here. There's also TikTok that you can install. So TikTok is a bit of a special thing in the sense that there's if you go to the store, so the Microsoft App Store, you can install it as an app. But of course, it still has this browser-based app that you can use. So that's a bit of a special thing. It's different with the Walking Dead free casino slots app that I've also installed here, which is in fact a true app. Let's say there's no web-based app on this. So
I think it's similar like on Android. You can block the app from being installed, but you can still use your web browser to go to the website. So.
Yeah, you could still use your browser to go to the website, and that's is that a challenge? Yes and no. In fact, there are other ways that you can block, in fact, people from going to TikTok. messing around, or rather configuring, I'd say, the DNS, for example. There's also my colleague that suggested to change the host file on the Windows 10 machine, such that everything that goes to www.tiktok.com in fact goes to localhost, and so you can no longer reach TikTok. And I think there are other ways too, like stuff like Zscaler and so on, or actually changing your DNS if your employees are using or must use your specific DNS. Again, something that you can enforce if you have MaaS360 on the machine. If not, and if you give all rights to your user, then of course you're in a it's much more difficult to enforce rules. So okay, this is what we have on Windows. The apps are there. They are there, and let me first look on what policy I have installed right now. So in fact, the explanation is the same. You have policies, you have compliance rules, and let's take a look at these. So the device that I've just shown is this one. It's a Windows 10. And in fact, I will not redo the same thing as for the Android, but I've put a policy on this, which with this one, and I'll discuss that right away. I've also put a specific rule set name, which is very, very similar to the one from Android, but this one is for Windows. And then you can see what the result is, that there are two incompliances, namely TikTok is installed and the Walking Dead Casino is installed. That means, so let's look at these policies quickly, because I see that time is moving on pretty fast.
Time is ticking.
Time is ticking. Luckily, we have MaaS360 to help us with this kind of IT work. So the policy for Windows, as I said, it's these are different beasts. Windows 10 does not equal Android, of course. So the way you need to configure these things are quite different. So here we have to go to the section which is called Advanced App Compliance. Within Windows 10, there are universal apps, and in short, these are apps that you can run on different Windows 10, different Windows devices, I would say, like laptops and so on. And then there are the classical desktop apps. In this case, these are apps that are coming from the store, the TikTok and the slots game. So I needed to add these by the publisher identifier. And the publisher identifier is something that you can easily see once you have one machine that has that application. So this is where I grabbed this quite difficult number, which is the unique identifier of the publisher of the app. Then you will have to name what the application is. So that's TikTok over here. You have to say, I want to blocklist it. Alternatively, you can also whitelist applications. In fact, you can manage whatever configuration that you want, the publisher name, and then finally the app name. So that's what I did for both TikTok and for the Walking Dead Casino game. And that's it for the application part. Next to that, we have the compliance rule that I enforced, and that looks very, very similar to what we've done for Android. Let's take a quick look. So again, enforcement rules, for the sake of the demo, I said, okay, it must be between 10 and 10.0.22, blah, blah, blah. That's in fact Windows 11. And more importantly, when we go again to the group-based rules, you see it's exactly the same as for Android, except of course here I grouped the Windows devices where TikTok was installed or the casino game was installed. Et voila, that's on the level of policies. And if we now go back to that machine and we're trying to play, for example, that game, if I click on that, what will happen? Nothing much. You get this message saying, okay, blocked by your system administrator. All right. Now, I think Eve is thinking, where's the scary part on Windows?
But you can still open it. I think it's on the taskbar somewhere down. If you open this one, it will still open TikTok.
Yeah, but that's the web application.
Yeah, so it's quite confusing.
It's quite confusing. So when you install TikTok, there they go. Yeah. So that's TikTok. So they install both, in fact. So sometimes it's hard to see.
Well, the browser version might not be so intrusive because it's a browser controlled things you can gather from information from a browser. It's pretty standard. Yeah. But with an app, you don't really know what's inside the app gathering information. So.
Yeah, that's right. So they have more power on doing what they want, and it's a suspicious app. And some people say we have done some reverse engineering on the app, on the Android app, and they were even talking about TikTok downloading files from the internet, from some site, and trying to install that code on the mobile, which is quite spectacular and something mobile applications should not do. But it's all a bit vague, and these are all good water cooler stories, in fact. But what I meant with the scary part is that how are you going to remove this kind of apps? And I already offer my apologies because this is the one thing that actually doesn't work completely in my test environment. So, but I'll briefly introduce you to what you can do for that. So what you can do is you can, in fact, install an installation app yourself, and that's what I configured. So within MaaS360, you can say, okay, I have my own script that I want to run, and the script I am going to run is, I'll show you. It's over here. It's in. Is it over here? Let me see. Yeah, it is. So it's.
Can you make it a bit bigger?
Yeah, I can. Well, it should in fact here do the settings. That's best. In fact, texts or general. That is profile window. Where's the text? Text size, here it is. Okay, no.
Just hit Command plus and it should be.
Oh yeah, indeed, yeah. Sorry for that, yeah. Okay. So if I rather get this, remove, PS1. So it's a PowerShell script, and what it's doing is the following. It's executing this this code, in fact, it gets all applications with the name of TikTok, and then actually pipe this into remove. So that's the way you can remove an application like TikTok on the Windows machine. And then you will have to give some exit code so that MaaS360 knows that everything went well. So this is what I did, in fact. And once you have build up such a configuration, which is not too difficult, it's just importing the PowerShell script and telling some other things that it needs to do, what the correct exit code is, and so on. Then it will be distributed to the application, or rather to the device, I mean. And you can actually see this over here within the MaaS360 application. And you go to App Catalog. You can see that he has the TikTok remover installed here. And if you then, you can also do this automatically, of course. But if you then say, okay, Mr. User, you can uninstall it by yourself. You never know. Then you simply have to do get, and then it will download and install, in fact, the script. And during installing, but this is the part that doesn't work, so my apologies for that. During the running of the script, the TikTok should be removed.
Maybe there's something with permissions that you need to run it as an administrator or something like that, maybe.
I guess so.
So it's
time
a bit
is running out, and to troubleshoot it.
It's a bit confusing because you're distributing an application to remove another application.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit a twisted procedure, in fact.
But yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess this is what I had cooked for today for the webinar.
Okay, so
and yeah, maybe we can now wrap up.
yeah.
Did you see any questions in the chat, Yves?
No, there's no real questions in the chat, but we'll see afterwards if the people have still comments, they can still address them to us. And thank you for having this extensive demo, and looking forward to another session, but I suppose you will take some holidays, some time off, right?
I will take some time off, indeed. And yourself, Yves?
Well, I'll be playing around with some threat management features and hopefully explain that in the next session.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I know you've been busy also with MaaS360.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you on the next session.
See you on the next session. Bye for now.